Welcome, one and all, to Monday Night Nerd. It is so good to be here. My hair is completely not on point right now, but that doesn't matter. I'm so glad you guys could all tune in. Tonight, we're going to have a fun episode. We're going to talk all about the best Super Nintendo games in the world based on my opinion, because it's my show. That's what we do here, is talk about stuff that I want to talk about. I want to say thank you very much for being here. It is a Monday. It is a busy Monday. It is a busy week because we're getting ready for a big Comic-Con coming up this weekend that we will talk about in the Newsy News. But let's start things off. Let me move some things around here on my screen so I can better talk to you folks. Like I said, it was a very busy day. I was just getting on here at the last possible second, because, well, today was bloody busy. I don't want to go into personal stuff, but today has been a busy day. Let's start things off with some news, because that's kind of what we do here. Where did my day go? Like I said, sorry guys, I'm a little behind the 8 ball today. It has just been a hell of a day. Talk amongst yourselves. There we go. All right. Let's talk about the cons. Let's talk about this week. I'm going to be at London Comic-Con. I'm super excited to be back in London. Unfortunately, due to illness, I was not able to make it last year. But I will be in the building this Saturday, London Comic-Con, RBC Place, and I will be at the Freakish Workshop's booth. Freakish Workshop reached out to me and said he needs someone to help him with his booth, and I said, I am more than happy to help with your booth. I think it'd be a lot of fun. We always get along. We have a great night. We have a great time, so we are going to be together at his booth. We will be there from, I believe it starts at 10, it runs to 7, and yeah, it's going to be an absolute blast. And folks, if you did not see earlier, I've got a new cosplay. I will be debuting my J. Jonah Jameson cosplay, which will include my brand new Daily Bugle that I made. I'm very proud of this. This is a Daily Bugle with complete articles. 5 of them, actually. I'm super excited about this. I'm going to be doing a tutorial that I will post on YouTube in a few days that is going to show you how to make your own, how you can design your own and make yours at home. It is actually stupidly easy. It took me about 20 minutes to make this, and I'm very proud of it. You can customize it whatever way you want. I've actually got a buddy reaching out asking me to do one for him, so I'm going to be making a second, and it's not going to be Spider-Man, so I'll let you figure out what that is. But yeah, we'll be there for the booth. I know he's got a panel, I believe, around 10:45, so he'll be off doing that. But we will be there all Saturday. I know the Geeks & Co. are doing a Marvel meetup on the Sunday, but unfortunately, I will not be there on the Sunday. Unless I get a last-minute boost of energy, but I highly doubt I will be there on the Sunday. I've had a lot of people reach out after they saw my J. Jonah Jameson cosplay that they wish I was there on the Sunday, and sorry, guys. Yeah, this was just planned to be a Saturday. I wanted something that sort of mixed well with his cosplay. I didn't want to bring Ghost Rider or anything like that because this is his booth. I want to be a part of it, but I don't want to be overcrowding and, taking away from his amazing cosplays, which he will be showing off his amazing Green Goblin on Saturday, and he'll be showing off his huge, amazing, epic Rhino on Sunday, which I will be seeing pieces of, but I will not see him walking around in it, but I hope he has a great time in it. So Saturday, this weekend, I will be in London, and then the weekend after, I will be in Hamilton for Hamilton Comic-Con. I will be at the autograph area, as always, with the celebrities. This is my hometown con. It's always a fun con. It's a smaller one compared to Niagara or something like that, but we always have a blast there. And I hope you guys stop by and see all the amazing celebrities, because Ernie Hudson's going to be there, amazing Ghostbuster, and the police officer from The Crow, which is where I actually know him more because I'm such a Crow fan. But yeah, so we got a double back-to-back convention lineup, which means next week we're going to be talking about my time at London Comic-Con, and then the week after we're going to talk about Hamilton Comic-Con. So a lot of cons coming up. Make sure to like and follow me on all my social medias, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, and here on YouTube, because I got shorts coming out. I've got tutorials coming out, I've got podcasts, I've got a whole bunch of content, and there's a whole bunch of stuff coming out over the next couple weeks. So you need to make sure to follow, because there's no other way to see it because the algorithms are so crazy right now. The only real thing we're going to talk about newsy-wise besides cons, I've watched the first 2 episodes of Peacemaker, which I'm super, 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 super happy to see that season 2 is kicked off with a bang, to say the least. If you haven't seen, I'm not going to spoil anything, but a great opening 2 episodes. They are kind of what I expected there to be. When I heard that there was going to be some, I don't want to say some Marvel shenanigans, but there is a multiverse part to this season, and I'd heard when that happened, I had a feeling of where this was going to go. It's not exactly the way I thought it was going to go, but I am very interested to see how the rest of the season goes. I think episode 3 is out now, which I will hopefully be watching in the next day or two. Like I said, it's just been really busy around here for the past couple days. But yeah, super happy with it. John Cena's kicking ass as always. The entire cast actually has been doing amazing. I'm actually working on a Peacemaker cosplay. I actually had a buddy of mine used to do a cosplay for Peacemaker. He was getting rid of it. He passed it along to me, so I will be doing Peacemaker in a little bit. I've got the suit. I am actually currently on the other side of that wall. I am 3D printing the gun, his pistol. I have a friend who's splitting me up a helmet because the helmet that I was gifted was way too big. So I'm getting a new helmet made, and then I have to figure out a way to make Eagly, because if I'm going to do Peacemaker, I need to figure out a way to make Eagly, because he is an integral part of the cosplay, and I think it'll be a nice addition. I've seen some 3D prints, but it's just a little too staticky and a little too plastic, so I think I got to figure out how to do it. But yeah, Peacemaker will be here probably early 2026. But yeah, so happy that season is back, and I'm happy to see that everyone is enjoying it. I haven't seen many people complaining about it. I haven't seen any feedback that's been negative. I've seen a lot of people loving John Cena's performance, which I've been a wrestling fan since 95 or 97, so I'm well aware of how good of an actor he is. So it's great to see him kicking ass as always. Other than that, only big thing I've been doing right now, I've been wanting to watch Naked Gun, but I have not had an opportunity yet. So probably next week I will be talking about watching the new Naked Gun, which I've been just dying to see. I've been replaying Spider-Man on the PS5 because that came out for the PlayStation Plus a couple weeks ago. And I love that series, and I still haven't played 2, so I thought, let's run through 1 again with the new trophies, because I love trophies. So I'm running through that. I think I'm 60% through it. I'm doing all the side missions and everything else, and man, it's such a fun game. It's such a fun game. I might actually run through Miles again, because that expansion is still great too. But yeah, that's really all I've been doing right now. Not a whole ton. Just getting ready for Comic-Con, getting J. Jonah Jameson ready, and I really need to get a sensor bar for Stan the Mannequin's package. Like, man, it is just staring me in the face. Okay, let's jump into the sponsor. Let's jump into the main event, folks. If you're still here, I greatly appreciate it. Folks, if you're watching on TikTok, I greatly appreciate that you're here too. If you could hit that follow on TikTok, and if you're here on YouTube, if you can hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, all those things, it would mean a lot. We got a lot of content coming up over the next few months and the next year, and I'm super excited that you guys can all tune in. Sponsor, as always, folks, you know this if you've ever watched the show before. The sponsor is my beautiful, loving, amazing, incredible wife. She is my sponsor every single week. I'm not doing that to suck up. It is because I am a better person with her in my life, and that, again, is not me just getting brownie points. Seriously, if you met me before this, before I met my wife, I was a completely different person, and probably not the best person when I look back on it. I'm a much better person now, and I'm so happy to have her in my life. So, hun, you will always be my sponsor. I love you. Okay, let's get into the main event. We're only 10 minutes in. This is probably not going to be a full hour episode, but that's okay. That means you guys can go out and enjoy your night. I know some people are probably itching to watch Monday Night Raw because AJ Lee is back with CM Punk, and I'm excited about that too. All right. For those who are watching this after, because I am going to cut this and make it its own video, you can tune into the show, Monday Night Nerd, Monday night, 7 p.m. here on the channel, LIVE Live. You can hang out here like Pretty Nerdy Crystal is and comment and tell me what you think of some of the things I'm talking about. Okay, top SNES games. Let's kind of go into my background on the system, and then we'll go into the list, because I think context in most cases is king. So we're going to talk about the Super NES. This is I'm going to say my first system. I did have an NES when I first was a child. I was gifted an NES, but I was a child, little child. So my understanding of gaming and my capacity for playing games was little. Like, seriously, I was born in 88, so I didn't really have a lot of time with that console until the Super Nintendo came out. So I consider this my first console. My first real console that I would say made, like, I'm a gamer was the N64, but this was technically my first console. And this was the console that I realized I loved video games. And this was at the height of video games as well. I remember being a kid and going to grade school, and our grade school had a subscription to a great magazine that some of you may have forgotten about called Nintendo Power. Nintendo Power, for those kids who are watching this, is a magazine, or was a magazine, that was basically the internet of the day. It was a magazine that had all the video game information you might need in one monthly periodical that you could find out a whole bunch of stuff out about current games, future games, and a whole lot more. This was like our Bible as a kid. Like, every kid was waiting for the new issue to come out so we could all rent it and then sit around and talk about what was in the Nintendo Power. Was there secrets that we didn't know? Was there, new levels that we hadn't hit yet and we figured out how to do it? Whole ton of information in these magazines, and it was at that point where I was like, okay, there are kids who like this, and then there's me. I feel like I'm into this a little more than they are, which made me realize I'm a gamer, and I'm still a gamer to this day. When we talk about this system, though, I do want to stress, and I'm stressing this, the timeline, the lifespan of this console was 1990 to 1999. I was 2 to 11. So for those people who are not too happy that there are certain games not on this list, I was 2 to 11. So I'll tell you right now, if you're sitting here going, I can't wait for Myers to talk about Final Fantasy, you're going to be sorely mistaken, because Final Fantasy is not on this list. We are going to do an honorable mention because I do know as an adult now that these games were important and they were great. But please refrain from posting in the comments, oh, you're an idiot for not playing. No. What you should put in the comments, if you don't agree with what I'm saying in my list, you should really play XYZ because blah, 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 blah. Emulation is a thing. I do have the mini Super NES. I have the games. It's just I'm an adult and I have responsibilities and I have enough stuff on the PlayStation Network to get me through. But I do understand that there are some games that, because of my age, I was not interested in. So they were either too advanced or they were just not my style of gaming. So if there is something that's not on this list, or if you're like, these honorable mentions are good, but you should really play that, please tell me in the comments, because I want to be informed of why I should play these games. The one thing I want to stress, two things. This is A, my list. B, this is only going to be one per franchise. I do that with every one of my lists because I am a big DK fan, and if I could, I would go DK1, DK2, DK3. That would take up a third of my list. We can't do that. I want to give some love to some other games, so we're going to do one per franchise. So let's kick things off with some honorable mentions. Some honorable mentions are the games that I know are very important to the lifespan of this console, and I know have a heavy heart in everyone's, consciousness, that are, these are franchise builders. I did not play them. It's not that I don't like them. I just never really played them enough to have a full opinion of them. Pretty Nerdy Crystal in chat has thrown out her picks of Baby Yoshi, Mortal Kombat 2. You spelled combat with a C. Come on. Super Mario that came with it. Mario Paint are my favorites. Well, we'll have to see if those end up on the list. Let's go through the honorable mentions. Number 1, for anyone who has seen my N64 list, you're well aware that this is probably on the honorable mentions list, A Link to the Past. I know, Everyone's a Zelda fan, and it's a very important franchise. The woman who lives with me downstairs has the Triforce tattooed on her. I understand that it's a big franchise. I am not a Zelda fan. I played Ocarina of Time. I got to the Water Temple. I gave up. It has never been my franchise. I appreciate it. I love that everyone loves Link, Zelda, and the cast. It's just not for me. But I will put it in the honorable mentions list because I know how important this one is. I have tried this one multiple times. This is the one that I will say I have tried this multiple times, and I just can't get into it. Leaving it at that. Honorable mention number 2, Star Fox. Star Fox, the original, I never played it. It looked way too primitive when I was a kid. I understand why. I understand the reasoning for it now. But back in the day, it looked way too primitive for me. It looked way too choppy, way too boring, so I didn't play it. I love Star Fox 64, but the original one just wasn't for me. Secret of Mana goes back to I was 2 to 11. Looked cool, but way too weird of a story and stuff for me to get into it. Again, I understand how great that franchise is, and I've seen the remake come out on the PS5 and everything else, and I've debated buying it just because I want to be like, I want to understand why everyone loves this, but it wasn't for me. Number 4, we talked about earlier, Final Fantasy. Never played it. Had no interest in playing it. It's not for me. Love the franchise. Think it's a great franchise. I'm glad everyone loves it. It's just not for me. And last, Metroid. Never really played a Metroid game except for the GameCube ones, and I coincidentally played the new one on the Switch 2 at Fan Expo. Again, I love that everyone loves this series. It's just not for me. So honorable mentions, Link to the Past, Star Fox, Secret of Mana, Final Fantasy, and Metroid. Cool? All right, let me take a swig of water. And let's jump in to our number 10. This is a game that is actually a sequel to a game that was fun, but it was missing something. And the thing it was missing was one of the most important things in the franchise. And we got on the second one, and you can tell how important it is if you've ever played it. That game is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. The game. Which I hate that they name those games like that, but it is true. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, the game, is my number 10. And the reason is because I am a huge Mighty Morphin Power Rangers fan growing up. That was my jam. This movie is one of the first movies in my life that I could quote word for word. I started rollerblading and still rollerblade to this day because of the intro to this movie. Because I went, well, Tommy and the gang can rollerblade. Why can't I rollerblade? That's why I started rollerblading. I've told my buddy Dave, who has gone skydiving before, I'm like, the only reason I would skydive is if I had a snowboard underneath me, because that's what Tommy Oliver wore. And again, going back to my point, the reason this, in my opinion, was better was because of that guy on the cover. Tommy Oliver is not in the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers game for the Super Nintendo. Because he's in this one, and because he was the face of the franchise, this gets the number 10 spot. It is very similar to the original game. If you put them side by side, you can pretty much tell it is the same developer. It's the same game. They've just added a few things, including the White Ranger. Very fun game. It is a side-scroller beat-em-up. It is, you play as the cast of teenagers, Jason and all them. And this one, it's Rocky and Aisha and them. And then when you get to a certain power level, you can morph into your ranger. This is a kind of a hard game to play. I will fully admit it is fun because I'm such a Power Ranger fan, but I will admit this is kind of a pain in the ass game. I've only made it so far. Even as someone who has it on emulation, it is still a pain in the butt even today. The biggest problem I have with this game is when you morph, you could be any character. So Trini looks like, or Aisha looks like Aisha, Kimberly looks like Kimberly, Tommy looks like Tom. Like, they all look like themselves. As soon as they transform into their ranger form, every ranger is just a color swap. The girls look exactly like the Guy Rangers, except a color swap, except for Tommy. Tommy has his own sprite. And that's where I kind of feel insulted by it, where I'm like, you couldn't put, the Pink Ranger skirt on it. You can't make them look a little more feminine. It's a little cheap that they just color swapped all 5 of the Rangers and Tommy gets his own sprite. So, a good game. It has a lot of nostalgia for me because I do love this franchise. But I spent many hours playing the first 2-3 levels over and over and over again, trying to get further into it and always getting my butt kicked. Pretty Nerd Crystal said, "What? I didn't even know this was a game. Never played it." You should. You should. Even just check it out on YouTube. I've seen some Let's Plays, and it's actually pretty fun. Number 9. Number 9 is the only... I'll say it. It's the only sports game on the list. And as a Canadian, this might be a little bit of a shock, because as a Canadian, I think a lot of people would say the Canadian game to be on this list should be NHL Stanley Cup. I'll tell you right now, I hate NHL Stanley Cup. It is one of the most frustrating sports games I've ever played. I know everyone loves it. I love the soundtrack. I just hate the controls, and it's a pain in the butt, and I never win in it. The game I do win in, though, is NBA Jam Tournament Edition. Now, this, if you've seen my video about my love for the arcades, this is one of those games that's on that list. This game is one of the few that took the arcade experience and dropped it onto a console and knocked it out of the park. They did such a good job with this game. There is the original and then the tournament edition. Tournament edition gets a little bit extra stuff. It feels a little more smooth. It doesn't feel as choppy. This is a game which I think you'll see with other games on this. The over-exaggeration just makes this fun. Like, it really is just fun watching all these players that you've seen on TV doing these crazy backflip moves and the ball's on fire and stuff like that. As a kid, it is just so fun to play an arcade version of this, and that love continued on into games like NBA Showtime, NFL Blitz, and stuff like that. Just that fun arcade experience. Like, I love like the NHL series right now. I hate Madden because I'm not really a big football fan, but the NHL series is great right now. But I do miss a little bit of that arcade version. I know there is sort of an arcade version of that game, but I just feel like it's so simulated that it just gets kind of boring. Like, I really don't want to do press conferences after. I just want to get on the ice and, shoot some pucks and hit some people. And I feel like this is the NBA's best version of it. Again, if you love the arcade version, you will love this version. The commentary to this day, people are still quoting, "It's on fire, ugly shot." Like, we quoted that when we were at the back of our school playing basketball. We were all yelling it at each other anytime anybody missed a shot. From downtown. Like, it's still memorable to this day. It was that good. And the only problem with this, and anybody who's ever played this game will say the same thing, this was a 90s basketball game, no Michael Jordan. And for those who don't know, there is a reason why. And I do understand why. Michael Jordan was not part of the Players Association agreement. So in the day, you had to get 2 sort of sign-offs when you made a game for sports like this. You had to get the NBA license, and then you had to get the Players Association. So the NBA would give you, the logo and all that stuff. The Players Association agreement was allowing you to use the players. Well, because Michael Jordan was locked up with Nike and all that, it would have cost Midway so much more money to just get Michael Jordan. And it just was not worth the profit margins to get Michael Jordan for this game. So while I did still play as the Bulls, and I was still playing as Kukoc and Pippen, and that was fun, I think all of us would have loved to have Michael Jordan. But as an adult, I understand that it would have just not been profitable if they tried to get Michael Jordan. There is rumor, however, that they did make a special arcade cabinet with Michael Jordan in it for Michael Jordan's house. So that is kind of cool that NBA Jam was like, we'll make you one, but only you can have it and you can play as yourself. So yeah, so this is such a fun game, but again, the downfall being the player that everyone loved. That's like having, that's like having the Stanley Cup game and not having Gretzky. Like, I get it from a financial standpoint, but as a fan, it's kind of frustrating. Let's go into number 8. Number 8, we talked about this on the N64 episode, how everyone loved the N64 version of this game. They thought it was a better game. I loved the N64 game, but I just felt like it was overplayed. Everybody that came over to my house wanted to play it, and I just got really tired of it really fast. But I love the original, and that is Mario Kart. Mario Kart, this was the first time Nintendo said, let's take Mario and put him into another sport. Like, there was tennis on the on the NES, but it just wasn't Mario. Like, it didn't have the whole cast and all that. This was that first attempt by Nintendo to do it, and they knocked it out of the park with this game. This game was incredible as a kid. Like, this was all your favorite characters that you got to play as something else in another game all together in one game, and they killed it. This game is still fun to this day. The fact that they're taking some of these retro courses and putting them into the new Super Mario Kart game on the Switch 2 is really cool to see. It was really fun trying to do little jumps and stuff that you did on this one, and you realize they patched the crap out of it, which pisses me off. But honestly, it's a simple, fun game. You're just behind the sprite and the courses running around you. What's not to love about this game? I don't know. It's Mario Kart. Like, I don't know anybody who plays this game who's just like, oh, it's not for me. And this turned into a giant franchise. We're going to talk about that continuously throughout this episode, where there are going to be a lot of titles in here that are going, this was step one into making into a giant franchise, and some people may not realize how great that original game was because they're too focused on, the next one that just blew people's minds. I'm like, no. You need that first one to start that franchise rolling. The only thing I wish, and I think this is my gripe, and I know you're probably thinking this totally counteracts what you just said. I wish there was more in this game. And I know you're sitting there going, they did that. It's called Mario Kart 64. I get that argument. I feel like I wish there was more of the 16-bit version. If there was maybe a couple more characters, if there was a couple more tracks, I'd be happy about that. This is a game where I really wish there was DLC for it back in the day, because I think it would have done amazing. So, Mario Kart, it's understandable. It had to be on the list. It's an incredible game. Let's go into number 7. Number 7, we're going back to the arcades, folks. This is the best arcade beat 'em up ever. There are lots of choices, but if this isn't your number one, I think you're missing out, and I'm not understanding the point. Turtles in Time. TMNT 4 Turtles in Time. It's Turtles in Time. I mean, if you're a kid of the 90s and have never played this, where have you been? Seriously, where have you been? This is an incredible game. Every version of this game is incredible. The arcade version's great. The Super Nintendo's great. The Genesis version's great. It's just a solid game across the board, to the point where for decades they were trying to get this game remade and trying attempt after attempt after attempt and failing miserably, to the point where they have finally gotten to the point of, let's just do a newer, updated version of it and call it like the direct sequel, and that is Shredder's Revenge. And that's when they finally knocked it out of the park. They needed to stop remaking it and just make a success to it, and they did, and it was amazing. The deep cuts characters in this, the gameplay, like, there's so many things you could talk about. The soundtrack, Like, I think there's a company that just released this on vinyl a couple years ago, if not this year. Like, I get it. These are memorable tracks that we all grew up with if you're a 90s kid, because whether you were hanging out with your buddies on the couch playing a co-op game, or if you were at an arcade and these tracks were just blasting around the room, it's a game that every kid I know played to death and loved. And I think that's something that, a lot of kids, I think today's, and I'm not going to sound old, but I think the kids have so many options that it's hard to get a large group of kids together and go, we all love this. I think Fortnite and Minecraft would be like the only two nowadays where I could see a whole large group of them go, this is a game that our generation loves. This was ours. Like, I can't think of a kid that didn't play this at some point, or at least, know about it at least. The only issue I have with this, it is not as good as the arcade. It is good in the fact that I'm not dumping quarters into it, because you had to dump so many quarters into this game to finish it. So cost-wise, if you tried to go from beginning to end and you weren't that good, you would probably spend the amount it would be to just buy it and bring it home. So I wish it was as fun as the arcade, because there is a little bit more of a smoothness to the arcade. The port is not 100%, but it is still, for a kid from my age of around 9, 8, this was great. I had no problems with it. It is still a great game. I have it downstairs still, and I love it. So we are on to number 6, folks. We've gone through Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, NBA Jam, Mario Kart, Turtles in Time. As we quickly talked about earlier, I am a wrestling fan. I've been a wrestling fan since 1997. And one of the first things I remember playing as a wrestling fan was not WWE Warzone, was not the Royal Rumble on the Super Nintendo. It was WrestleMania, the arcade game. This was, and still is, such a fun game. And I know there are people out there who despise this game and think it one of the corniest wastes of money. I have seen so much hate for this game. I don't know why. I had so much fun playing this game. I also grew up a Mortal Kombat fan. So as a Mortal Kombat fan, I loved these digitized actor graphics. So seeing my favorite WWF superstars in an arcade game like this, that just made it so much more fun. Having, Brett and Shawn and Razor and Taker, and having, again, going back to the NBA Jam, the exaggeration of the moves, of even in the box art, Doink the Clown using the buzzer and the guy getting electric shocked, Shawn Michaels flying across the ring and Hurricane Rana people. Like, it's just over the top, and as a kid, it was so fun to play. I played hours on this, and it was a very short game. It is an arcade game. There's no story. It is simply, you play, I think, 5 matches to go for the Intercontinental belt, and you play 7 matches, and you go for the WWF title. It's not a deep game, but it is a fun game. And, the exaggeration of the moves, I know... after this, they did do another version of it, which was WWF In Your House, which was on the PlayStation. That was good because you had a little more space on the disc, so the backgrounds were a lot more cool. All the backgrounds in this one are just in the ring, in the arena. The In Your House had, each person had their own stage. So the Undertaker was in a grave site. Shawn Michaels had the Heartbreak Hotel. So they had a little more variety like that. But I love the simplicity of this. I love the ease of this. The commentary. Again, I know people make fun of the commentary in this because it's Vince McMahon and Jerry Lawler just, throwing out, placed lines here and there. And it is kind of funny looking back on it, having him You can tell the break in the track. So I assume when they were recording it for the game, there was, Vince would say, it's been a great match, and then cut, and then he would insert like for Shawn Michaels, for Bret Hart, for Razor Ramon. So it's funny listening to the track, so you can hear the split where it's like, it's been a great match for Shawn Michaels, and I'm like, I know as a kid that's not one take, that's two put together. But him just yelling, what a maneuver, and stuff like that was so fun, especially as a kid growing up as a wrestling fan. The only issue I have with this is there's only 6 characters for the Super Nintendo. The Genesis was able to get 2 more characters. They were able to get Bam Bam Bigelow and Yokozuna, which was a nice plus. And that is the same layout for the arcade. The Super Nintendo could only carry so much, so you only got your 6 characters, which I believe were the 4 on the screen, as well as Lex Luger and Doink the Clown. Not the greatest roster, but we were happy with what we had at the time. So we're at the halfway point, folks. We went through Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, the game, NBA Tournament Edition, Super Mario Kart, Turtles in Time, WrestleMania, the arcade game. Now we're getting into the heavy hitters, folks. Again, if you've watched the show before and you know that I loved the arcade, I loved spending my quarters when I was a kid, and nothing ate up more of my quarters than this game, because I'm a giant fan of this franchise, to the point that in the next couple months we will be doing an episode about my love for this franchise, because I could recite the history of this franchise in-game and out-game all day long, because I love it so much. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. This is the creme de la creme of Super Nintendo 2D fighters. I want to remind you, I said Super Nintendo. Trilogy is better. I will fully admit Mortal Kombat Trilogy is a better game, but they never released it on Super. It's only on PlayStation and it's 64. This is everything an MK fan would want. This is, I think everyone realizes, if you were an MK fan, the biggest problem of Mortal Kombat 3 was the lack of your signature characters. If you don't know, if you've ever heard of the Mortal Kombat franchise, you know of the characters like Sub-Zero, Scorpion, Johnny Cage, etc., etc. When they come to Mortal Kombat 3, however, they rip a lot of those characters out. There is a new version of Sub-Zero, but there is no Scorpion, there's no Reptile. It is a little light when it comes to your signature characters. And while people liked it, there was that necessity of having those characters. So this is the first time that Mortal Kombat went, well, let's just do an upgraded version of the game, which sadly they still do, which sucks, because if you're a hardcore Mortal Kombat fan like I am, you want to buy it day one, but then you realize, wait, you guys are just going to pump out DLC later and then release an ultimate version later on, like they just did with Mortal Kombat 1. This game has everything you want. It's got all your signature characters. It's got your MK3 characters. It's got amazing stages. It's got a whole bunch more stuff than Mortal Kombat 3, which again, if you have Mortal Kombat 3, it's a little bit of a piss off, but if you're, like it says, the ultimate fighting game, it really is, and it is a pretty darn close port from the arcade system. It is almost exactly. There is a couple flaws. There's a couple, if you're a really hardcore gamer, you will notice there's a little bit of a frame rate issue, but overall, it is a pretty damn good port. And again, the biggest thing as a kid, you went from 15 characters in MK3 to 22 characters in this one, which made you so happy. And the one thing that I think no one really thinks about is this was, while it was a addition to the Mortal Kombat 3 game, this also introduced Mortal Kombat 3 and Ultimate, introduced some of the most iconic looks for the characters. Yes, Scorpion was always yellow. Yes, Sub-Zero was always blue. Reptile was always green. Sonya has her iconic look that I think everyone thinks of when they think of Sonya from this game. You've got the specific shoulder pads that look a little more plastic and a little more bigger, because of this game. That's the way that the ninjas look in this one. You've got Noob Saibot in this game, which is a very simplistic black look, but you got a little more of that scorpion kind of shoulder pads. I know they've done a lot more in the newer games, but you get my point. And let's be honest, it's the beginning of the best character in the franchise that everyone loves, Stryker. Kidding. I love Stryker. I think he's a great character. But yeah, this is a great game. I've played so much of this. If it wasn't for Trilogy, which beats this hands down, this is the best 2D Mortal Kombat game in the world. So we've gone from the arcades. We now are going to start going into the heavy hitters, because we said there is one per franchise. That does not mean one Mario game. There are going to be more Mario games, because I know that's what some people are probably waiting for, but it is not going to be the only, like Mario Kart was not the only one. So let's jump into a Mario game, because I know there should be a bunch on here, and I know I'm going to get crucified if I don't put them on here. As a cosplayer, as an artist, someone who has drawn since he could probably walk, getting to draw digitally was mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. And that started with Mario Paint. And this looks so primitive now. This is MS Paint, basically Mario themed, but it is so fun as a kid to play this. Like, I know technology is at the point now where literally, like, this is Mario Paint, wireless, by the way. But as a kid, when, we didn't have God, I'm getting old. We didn't have computers back in our day. I didn't have a computer when I was a kid. So the closest thing to a computer was my video game console. And to get a game where you literally are given a blank screen and a mouse, and you are just told, draw, paint, create. What? Like, it's not on a piece of paper? What the hell's going, I remember getting this game and just being like stunned. Like, what do you mean just draw? And getting into it and just loving it. It was a dream come true for an art kid. And as Crystal brought up, and I will bring it up right now, the music, the being able to compose your own music in this. And it wasn't, Beethoven's symphony, but still having a chart and being able to make music and make sounds. There was so much creativity you could do with this game that I don't think people give it enough credit as what it deserves. Like, it is such an incredible game, having not just a drawing capacity, having a music capacity, having an animation capacity, because I don't think a lot of people remember that you could do 4-frame animation in this. So if you were a kid, you could create anything. Positive or negative, you could create anything in this. It was a treasure trove of creativity. And then if you got bored and you didn't want to create, you could go in and just kill some bugs and play a game where it was just a fly swatting game, which again is such a dumb little game, but it was so fun and so memorable. The mouse control and the mouse pad was just something different that took. It was probably the first time when I looking back on it, it was the first time that I saw Nintendo go, we can change how people play the game, which they've been doing ever since. I mean, you had a controller like this, and then you got the N64, which has the little joystick in the middle. And then you have the GameCube controller, which goes back to that, but you've got the control stick up here, and then you've got the Wii, which has all the motion controls, and then you've got the Switch, which has the tablet with the nunchucks, and now, coincidentally, with the Switch 2, guess what the Switch 2 has? It's got mouse controls. So it's crazy how it's kind of come back full circle. That back in 1994, I think this came out, 3. You started with mouse controls, and in 2025 you're back to using mouse controls. Like, it's just such a cool little circle that it made. And yeah, as a kid, you can make anything you want, appropriate or not, because there was a lot of kids that made a lot of inappropriate drawings. And there was a lot of talk at school about what you made on Mario Paint. And again, wasn't always appropriate, but kids are kids. But yeah, absolutely love this game. I think I know I have the mouse. I don't think I have the mouse pad. I think I lost the pad many years ago. But yeah, I've still got this game, and I still think it's so cool. Even though tech is blown out of the water. I get that. So that is 4. Let's go into the top 3, folks. What do you guys think the top 3 is? Because we got a lot of contenders. We got a lot of contenders for top 3. I think usually every one of these lists, I do have a controversial take. I think there's definitely one in every one of these lists that kind of make people go, Mike, what's wrong with you? And I think this is going to be it. Because as we said, this is one per franchise. So I think a lot of people think that the other one in this franchise should be number 1. However, I feel like this one has more of an impact, and I love this one more, and I love what this one did more. And that is Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island, which means Super Mario World will not be on this list. Now, you're probably sitting there going, that's the game that came with the console. That's the one everyone loves. Why did you pick this one over that one? Well, I love games that do something very different. And this is a very different game. It is one thing to be very different and go from console to console. The jump from Super Mario World to Super Mario 64 is a big jump, but that's console to console. Same with, Mario Sunshine or Mario Galaxy going now into Odyssey. That's a console to console jump. This is the same console that Super Mario World was born on. Going a completely different art style. Going a completely different mechanics. Going a completely different main character was a bold, ballsy choice by Nintendo. And I think it deserves a lot of credit. Taking someone who has been your franchise character of Mario, who has basically sold your console for the past 2 generations, and making him a side character, and putting the side character on the last game into the main character, that's a pretty crazy move to think about. Like, that there's not many franchises that would take that's like Tails being the main character in a Sonic game and Sonic being a side character. Like, it's just, that's not comprehensible for a mainline franchise like this. And the best part is they did it, they knocked it out of the park. They knocked it out of the park. And you know what? Crystal made a good point, and I was going to bring this up. The only thing was baby crying. My mom probably hated me. I think it is one of the best parts of this game. I think Mario crying is one of the best things about this game because it made you want to save him. It made you want to not get hit. It made you want to be a good player. I think if they did a really bad, boring baby crying, it wouldn't have been as good, and it wouldn't have made you want to play as much. Like, I think if you lose Mario, you kind of lose the level, but the fact that as soon as you got hit, you were like, oh my God, shut that thing up. I need to catch him. It added another thing to it. I think it made that game even better with that extra stupidly annoying crying Mario on his back. And this game set the stage for the rest of the Yoshi franchise. Like, again, you had a character that was a side character on the last game. A game where people were freely now throwing him into the ground and into holes to save themselves. He is now the main character in the game, which then breathes life into Yoshi's story. Yoshi's, what was the next one? Crafter's Corner or whatever, and then the new one, the plush one. Like, it built a franchise. It really built a franchise, and I applaud them for it. I think if Mario World was going to do well no matter what, because it's a Mario game, because it's the staple of the franchise, everyone was happy with it. The cojones to have the entire franchise switch in the next game, that's pretty crazy, and I applaud them for it, and that's why I put this one at number 3. Number 2 is going to be we talked about earlier how I did not like a certain franchise, and the irony that is going to be like, what are you never played that one, but you played this one. And when I say I played this one so much. I got the remake of this on Switch, and I loved it, and I beat it, and I want to play it again. A friend's got it right now, but I can't wait to play it again. I absolutely love this. And again, this is going to be a lot of like, what the hell are you talking about? Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. This game was like, what did you do to Mario? And why is this so fun? But I didn't play Final Fantasy. And I know everyone's like, what the hell, you didn't play Final Fantasy, but you played this? Yes, 100%. Because I feel like this is it. I use this analogy when it comes to a series like this. When you're outside and you're in the cold and you're out in the wilderness, there is a survival tactic that people that do this regularly know. You have 3 options. You have 3 triangle, let's say. You have a triangle with 3 points. 3 things matter: warmth, food, tired. If you have 2 of those 3, you can do well. You'll do well in the wilderness. If you lose 2 of those, that's when you start to be in trouble. If you obviously lose all 3, you're in a lot of trouble. I feel the same way about this game when it comes to the gameplay, because if you've never played an RPG before, this is very much like Final Fantasy. It is a very turn-based game. If you threw this game at me and it was a completely new play style, story I don't understand, and characters I don't care about, I don't care. But because it was a storyline I cared about, and it was characters I cared about and actually had a background in, I was able to get by on that third one and go, okay, let me give this gameplay a chance. And I did, and I loved it. And it is one of my favorite Super Nintendo games out there. Again, this is a turn-based game. This is not your traditional Mario game. This was a game that was a gamble for the franchise to have a company like Square Enix come in, who was well known for a completely different play style, and go, okay, we're going to take Mario and we're going to do something very different with him that a lot of fans are not going to like, but a lot of fans are going to love. And that's a gamble for Nintendo, because if you look back at their franchise, they've done some bad ones where they've let franchisees, 3DO, there's Mario games for the 3DO, which are absolutely dog crap. There's Zelda games for the 3DO that are absolute dog crap. But this is one of the few times that it did an amazing job changing the world. Having that sort of top-down angle look on the world was completely new. This is one of the first times where I remember walking around the world, the Mushroom Kingdom and other areas of the game, and realizing like this world feels alive. This honestly feels like a working town. It's not just, Koopalings and stuff walking around. It was just, it's a fun game. And because it was characters that I cared about and a story I cared about, where, by the way, your arch enemy has now become your friend. He's standing you're both standing side by side next to Peach. Like, what's going on here? It was definitely a change of pace, and I think it was a great change for the franchise. And I think this franchise just grew into the Paper Mario series, which just there's so much love for that entire series, which is funny that I loved this one. I loved RPG, but I never played Paper Mario for N64. It wasn't until the last one, the one for the Switch, that was the first Paper Mario that I played, and I'm like, oh, this is the same as Mario RPG. Oh, got it. Now I want to work backwards. Now I want to get Thousandth Door and all that. But yeah, this is number 2 for me. I still love it. I remember getting the remake for the Switch. Loved playing it again. It is still a fun game. The original and this are pretty darn similar. I do prefer the new art style, but that's a tech thing. I can't really blame this game for it. The tech is just way better now. But yeah, Mario RPG, number 2. And folks, we're at the number 1 spot. So let's go through that list one more time. We have at number 10, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie game, NBA Jam Tournament Edition, Super Mario Kart, Turtles in Time, WrestleMania the arcade game, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, Mario Paint, Mario World, Yoshi's Island, and Mario RPG. And if this is the point where you guys are going to duck out, I completely understand. If you guys duck out after this, when I announce this next game, I thank you all for watching. I'm going to say it now. I appreciate it. Please tune in next week. We got to talk about London Comic-Con, which is coming up next week, or this weekend, and then Hamilton Comic-Con. And then we got a whole bunch more episodes coming up. Number 1, it's not Mario World. There's a franchise that is not on this list yet, and that's because I've been waiting to put it as number 1, because it is a franchise that I think if you took a kid who grew up with the Nintendo, the original Nintendo, and you said to them, we're going to make this character one of the most important characters in the Nintendo library, and we're going to give it an entire franchise that is going to do amazing on the next console, and it's going to do amazing every other time, and it's going to last generations, I think people would have been like, you're high. There's no way. But they did it, and they absolutely blew everyone's mind when this came out, and it deserves all the praise, and it gets all the praise. Donkey Kong Country is number 1. It's hard not to put this as number 1. This is... the word mind-blowing is used a lot, but this is a mind-blowing game for a kid. It is one thing to play a game and it be 2D back in the day, and a lot of side-scrolling games were 2D. But to have an art style where it was 3D, but in a 2D world, what? And then to see this game come out and do as crazy as it did, it was just... it's honestly made me speechless when I was a kid. I remember playing this for days. Like, I remember coming home from school, throwing this on, and just playing it hours and hours and hours. And by the way, not getting super far. Was not beating it. Was getting to like certain parts in the game and being like, okay, I gotta figure out how to get past this. I gotta get way past this. And I just kept hitting that wall. But it was still such a fun game to play. It was definitely not an easy game, but it was still great. The soundtrack. Like, if you don't talk about the soundtrack for Donkey Kong Country, you are insulting how good this soundtrack is. The soundtrack was written by David Wise, who was also the person who did all the other mainline Donkey Kong Country games, and was also the sound director on a game called Yooka-Laylee, which, if you've not heard of Yooka-Laylee, it is an independent game that is sort of like the stepsister of the Banjo-Kazooie franchise, which is a super fun game. If you should check that out if you've never seen it. This is one of the few games that I will sit and just let the soundtrack play in the background while I'm doing work, while I'm working on cosplay, when I'm doing anything. Specifically, the Aquatic Ambiance song is a nostalgia trip. If you've ever been on TikTok if you've ever been on Instagram and gone through Reels and there's somebody talking about 90s culture or 90s, retro stuff from the 90s, there's a very good chance that a version of Aquatic Ambiance is the song that they're putting over it, because that song was such an impactful song for a kid and sticks with us to this day. This isn't this one, but specifically number 2, Diddy Kong Country, or Diddy Kong Quest, I should say. If you love the Donkey Kong Country soundtrack, if you love this franchise and you love the music of it, there is a artist on YouTube who has taken the Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy's Kong Quest soundtrack and put a symphony to it. It is absolutely incredible. Incredible. I believe his last name is Zimmerman, not the artist Zimmerman, but I believe it's Ben Zimmerman on YouTube. It is unbelievable. He has also done a symphony of Metallica 3, where he's taken live versions of Metallica and put the symphony behind it, for tracks that they've never played live with a symphony. But yeah, this series, this game kicked off a franchise that is still doing well today. It made an entire world out of a character that was throwing barrels at Mario not too long ago, turned him into the center, and now he's one of the faces, if not the face, of the newest Nintendo system. Like, I don't see many people I see people talking about Mario Kart a bit, but as of right now, Donkey Kong Bonanza is the face of the Nintendo Switch 2. I've seen more people talk about that since its release than Mario Kart. And I completely understand why, because it looks like it's an amazing game. So yeah, Donkey Kong Country is number 1. I greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. We did last the whole hour. Wow, I do talk a lot. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really, really do appreciate you spending your Monday nights with me. This weekend, this Saturday, I will be in London at London Comic-Con with my buddy Freakish Workshop. I will be at his booth all weekend, and I will be throwing the Daily Bugle around as J. Jonah Jameson. We're going to be showing some kids that Spider-Man fella ain't as cracked up as he says he is. So I will be in London as J. Jonah Jameson. Freakish Workshop will be rocking his Green Goblin, and on the Sunday he will be rocking his giant rhino costume. But yeah, and then next weekend, not this weekend, the weekend after, we will be in Hamilton for Hamilton Comic-Con, my hometown convention. Love doing this little con. But yeah, I'm gonna let you guys get out of here. Have yourselves a good night. I love you all, and I can't wait to see you next week, or I'll see you this weekend. Take care. See you guys soon. Hey, thanks for watching Monday Night Nerd. If you enjoyed this content, please hit the subscribe button, like this content, and follow on social media for even more nerdy fun. See you soon.